happy, 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 or maybe not so happy birthday to the one and only, the Green Machine, the Green Manalishi, the man of the world, Peter Green, the one and only, the inimitable Peter Green, who, in my opinion, had a relatively tragic life. He had also a good period in life, but his life, as opposed or as compared to other rock stars of his caliber, or even way smaller caliber, I think was kind of tragic. He was very, let's just say, unstable or inconsistent throughout his entire career. But what we should really most focus on is his wonderful, amazing, incredible music. I don't intend to make this one too long, so I just want to go through some of the records, some collected, not really a best of, but those that are at least closest to my heart, those that I like and respect the most. But before we go into that, it's, in my opinion, it's in and of itself maybe not even tragic, but very unfortunate and in a way due to people's, I don't want to say dishonesty, but just a desire to make things that are easy and cheesy and appeal to the masses. What I'm talking about is that almost all of the documentaries about Pete are make their focal point, or one of the maybe centerpiece of the movie, the Munich incident, which is famous. If by any weird chance anyone watching this doesn't know, just go look it up. Peter Green Munich incident. He was taken by a weird and kind of secretive group of people to a huge party in a big castle with rich aristocrats, and they allegedly gave him very, very high amounts of LSD, which, to the best of my knowledge, he was already taking before. And in my estimation, again, this is guesswork and speculation, but I think that he was messed up always in his mind. As is very often the case with such genius artists. So I think he had some very deep internal emotional problems, and he couldn't hold a steady trajectory. I have a feeling that if Mick Fleetwood and John McVie were pressed, they would probably confirm this. So I think that his life had a pretty strong tragic element to it. He probably had something in him that he might wanted to get out, and he didn't know to get out. And if you read interviews with him of the period, you see that not only was he changing, which is normal for people to change, especially rock stars. Very often they say what's uh, you know fashionable, or what the flavor du jour is. So he had a little bit of that. He wasn't so unique. There's of course also a natural progression, or what people call evolve. And he evolved in the beginning of his career when he was just with John Mayall, and when he just left and founded Fleetwood Mac. He was kind of like a very hardcore blues, Elmore James, and that kind of thing. And then he went to much more progressive, still within that framework of general blues, but he went to much more different directions, especially if you hear to Then Play On. That's when they really branched out. And then The End of the Game, which is very kind of psychedelic, progressive, if you will. And then in interviews, he was saying that, did you even listen to the words? Or we're not necessarily only just blues. We never said that we were hardcore blues, which they kind of did say. But so there was, he made this some very sad and tragic sounding sounds and songs, and even in the words, right? Man of the World, and I Have a Mind to Stop Living. So I think that the tragic element has always been there. Maybe not necessarily in the very happy songs, maybe not 24/7, but I don't think that his big downfall was a Munich incident. No one knows what would or would not have happened without it, and it didn't happen. So as for the albums, um, one of the nearest and dearest and closest albums to my heart is this guy, Hard Road by John Mayall. I don't have, unfortunately, anymore the two copies I had as a kid, but this is a nice copy as well. And this is a very, very sweet record to listen to. It has the unbelievable Supernatural. There is the Stumble, a great cover of the Stumble. Hard Road is a good, very good song. Most songs are Mayall compositions. I feel the same way. That's his other big composition on this on this record. You get Leaping Christine, another kind of love, great song out here. You Don't Love Me, another cover. So this is a very, very sweet and special record, of course, with the very classic or very special lineup of the Bluesbreakers. It had, of course, John McVie on bass, of course, Mayall, who was the band leader, and he was singing and playing the piano, and Graney on the guitar, and Ansley Dunbar, very classic, very special drummer, who was beating the Skins. Next up is one that I am very happy to see that it's gaining some traction in recent years, again, thanks to, in a big part, thanks to the internet, information, YouTube, people talking about music, and people discovering more information, and also thanks to the recent vinyl craze that kind of rekindled interest in music of that period. And maybe because modern music, as a lot of people claim, is not as good as an old music, but that's again a whole other topic. So this compilation came out, I think, for the first time in the mid-70s. And it consists of songs that were leftovers and takeouts and maybe B-sides, things of that nature, that were never released on official releases, not as A-sides. Anyway, very cool, very sweet tone, very well made record. Again, oldish kinda, so don't expect some kind of 2000s or 90s engineering whiz bang, but great sounding record. There is a song that's called Fleetwood Mac, which was renamed then later on, and at the moment I forgot which one this was, but it wasn't the Green Manalishi. There is A Fool No More, which he redid many years later. Mean Old Fireman is a great song on here. Rambling Pony, there's a different take. First Train Home, which also I think morphed into another song later on in their career. So this is another one that if you are just discovering Fleetwood Mac, or in fact even if you're an old fan but you don't have this one, it's definitely worth having, or at least give it a listen. Today it's very easy. You can go online and listen to pretty much anything, and if you really like it, you can then buy it. This one, of course, is the very famous debut album, Fleetwood Mac. It has a lot of classics here. Some of my personal favorites are Looking for Somebody, I Loved Another Woman. Of course, there's Keep on Turning. That's one of those that I was telling with a very, very tragic feel to it. My Heart Beat Like a Hammer, in when this was released, probably in late 69, early 70, if I'm not mistaken, maybe even 68. This was, so to speak, the heavy metal, in quote marks, of British blues. So this was way harder and stiffer and faster and louder than you would expect, definitely from contemporary American blues masters. Of course, it has the Long Gray Mare and then Merry Go Round, Hellhound on My Trail, Shake Your Moneymaker, that was redone by many others. And another great record. I would say it's a good sounding record. Although with modern ears, you could make the case that it's a crap sounding record, but Greeny's guitar tone is very sweet and nice, even though it's a little also screechy and kind of like almost going into annoying territory at times. So the distortion of the high tunes weren't as developed as they are today, or as they became developed in mid 70s, early 80s. And then you have, of course, Mr. Wonderful, which features a naked Mick Fleetwood with some real weird photograph. I wonder what they were thinking, because I would expect this on a much more psychedelic record. And this one continues very much in the same vein as the first one. So no big innovations, no big changing, pretty similar structure of the record. So Stop Messing Around is the fast thumper of the record. You have Need Your Love Tonight, which is great. Lazy Poker Blues, Trying So Hard to Forget is kind of the tragic song. Dust My Broom, of course, with the kind of sexual undertones. Love That Burns, great song. It was covered by his beloved disciple Snowy White. Listen to that version. Snowy also covers I Loved Another Woman and Looking for Somebody. And Gary Moore also covers, I'm pretty sure, which one is that? Merry-Go-Round, no. I think he does cover Looking for Somebody. Oh, I Loved Another Woman. It's on Blues for Granny. And If You Be My Baby, but it's not on this record. And of course Dr. Brown. So another very similar to the first record, but beefed up a little bit, like a half a step, if you will, in the hardness, and a little bit better produced. Also sounds somewhat better. The big difference is the one that they released after that, Then Play On. That's the banger. Really goes into all different kind of areas that you wouldn't really expect knowing the band at the time. Pious Bird of Good Omen. It's a compilation. It has Need Your Love So Bad. Oh, that's the one I was looking for. That's the one that Gary, his other beloved disciple, I mean, just think who the man was. If these are his two great disciples, Snowy White and Gary Moore, you know he was up there. So Need Your Love So Bad, that's I think the first record on Blues for Greeny. And interestingly enough, this has outtakes of songs not only from their official releases, but they also have a record that Greeny did with Eddie Boyd. And there is one Blues Jam in Chicago. Also, I didn't take those out here, but two pretty decent records. Again, if you're not a diehard fan, you might not necessarily have to have those albums, but they're definitely worth mentioning. This has the big famous song Black Magic Woman, which was then covered by Santana and made famous by them. And check out Snowy White's version. Phenomenal. He changed it completely, made it like a very jazzy, jumpy song with saxophones and a lot of keyboard. Just it's on the record the way it is. Snowy White, the way it is. Check it out. Phenomenal record, and it has an unbelievable cover of Black Magic Woman. But we're talking about Greeny here today. So here he has quite a number of songs that you won't find on albums. I think Need Your Love So Bad, it was only on a single. So in those times, music was more single oriented. the recording artist went into a studio, recorded a single, and banged it out, and didn't have to worry about an album. And actually now in the digital age, we're kind of coming back to that, right? Because there's not really a solid reason to push out a full album if an artist wants to be out there. If you have a handful of good songs, it's better to put on maybe just a few songs, and instead of just packing an album with fillers. But again, we're getting sidetracked again. The Big Boat, that's also, I think, from Eddie Boy's 7936 South Roads. I believe My Time Ain't Long. Okay, that was released. Although the Sun is Shining. It's an Elmore James. The Albatross. Okay, we should have definitely mentioned this before, but the Albatross is one of his very, very famous songs, and the Jigsaw Puzzle Blues that and Stop Messing Around. So it's not bad to have this this compilation, and there is also an American version of this, almost the same songs. There's two variations, two songs that are on each album, and that's English Rose. It's a little difficult to get it. Not very difficult to get it, but it's a little expensive. Anyway, this is the big one. This is the big one. This is Then Play On, and this is the second version, the one that has Oh Well. So the first version did not feature Oh Well, had a different song, which for the moment I forgot which one it is. But this one has the great, crazy songs. Of course, he has the famous songs Rattlesnake Shake. I'm sorry. But he got Closing My Eyes. He got Like Crying. He got Although the Sun is Shining. Those really soul wrenching kind of, you can feel the undertones of Greeny's tragedy. At least now that we know what happened. I don't know at the time it was released if anyone really saw it that way. But this, if you have to have one Fleetwood Mac record, it should be this one. I'm talking Fleetwood Mac with Greeny. Again, if you were listening to the post-Greeny Fleetwood Mac, you probably wouldn't be watching this now. It's just an assumption. Among the billions and trillions of people who watch this channel, I'm sure that none of them has post-Greeny Fleetwood Mac. So this kind of sort of closes the chapter on early Fleetwood Mac. There are a couple more releases. This is out of order. It shouldn't have been. One that I very much want to mention is this guy. This is Live in Boston, or Boston Tea Party. Live in Boston, yeah, that's the title of this pressing, and I think that this is the original. This was released in the mid-80s, 84, 85, like this, only with 7 songs on it. Long jam of Black Magic Woman, and even this is an edit. The original is even longer, and they released it in a digitalized format, 3 double albums. I don't have all 3, I have 2 of them. And if you put them together, you got kind of like a puzzle. I guess it's a reference to Jigsaw Puzzle, of like the kind of a puppet. I think it's an allusion to the puppet or the doll that Mick Fleetwood was holding on the second record, on Mr. Wonderful. Maybe, I don't know how they came up with that idea, but they have, I think, the full concert. So there was or 3 concerts. There were 3 concerts in early '70 after Greeny already left, but he came back to the band. So we're talking early '70, and this is definitely worth a spin. The sound is not as clean as you would expect. It's definitely not, actually, as you wouldn't expect, as you shouldn't expect. In mid '80s when it came out, this sounded very old technology, simply because it was recorded in '70. But that's what they had, and they cleaned up the sound as best as they could, whoever worked on it. and they came. So that's definitely one that's worth having, and it's being released in tons and tons of other names. Last Train Home, Last Train to Saint Anton. It has different. There is an OL, I think. So it was printed. I think that they had some loose copyright issues, and a lot of companies were able to release this with different covers. But it's usually the same record, except the one I mentioned, the one that was released in 2000 something, 7, 8, 9, 10, something like that, in digitalized record format, and that has a lot of songs. So it's not all 3 concerts in their entirety, but it's enough material to cover at least one full concert. Next up is this masterpiece. This one is not the easiest to digest. This is a very weird record, and it definitely takes a good number of listens until it grows on you. The record there's no vocals, it's just music, and it's a trip. That's what it is. It's a trip. It's Peter Green playing the role of the Grateful Dead, if you want sort of an analogy or descriptive. Peter Green sometimes playing Jeff Beck on television and playing a Grateful Dead kind of set. Timeless Time, Bottoms Up, Descending Scale, just mind-boggling stuff here. But this is not a record to hear. This is a record to listen down and sit down, and some weird names here. Big names, not in terms of super famous, but big names that are known and respected by the serious, so-called serious music. So you got Alex Damkowski on bass guitar. You got Nick Buck on keys, and Zoot Money on actual piano, and Godfrey McLean on drums, and of course Greenie on guitar. And this was recorded and engineered, and I think produced by the one and only Martin Birch, who sadly also left us in recent years. And here, the vibe, the feel that you get out of Greenie is a completely different feel. It's not. It almost sounds like he's being somebody else. Like I said, he's like playing kind of like Jeff Beck, trying to be Grateful Dead. Weird, but very. I don't want to say sweet, but maybe happy. Not happy as in happy-go-lucky, Motley Crue, Wasp, Skid Row kind of happy. It's a little difficult to describe, but he sounds very happy, very satisfied with his playing. That's how it comes through, at least to me. And definitely, I would call this a must-have if you're into this kind of recordings. Not everybody's cup of tea. I kind of understand that. And another one I really like, and that's kind of surprising because this is I don't want to say cheesy, but it's a very common recording. So this is called Vintage Years, Fleetwood Mac Vintage Years. It only has Greenie era recordings. And it's a well-made record. It's nice. It has a heavy cardboard, and it has this little clipping. I don't know if I think that this was written specifically for this record, and it's not like they just clipped out an article from a magazine. So pretty well done, and it has what one might term the essential Fleetwood Mac. So it has all of the hits and all of the must-haves and the great songs. So if you have to have only one Greenie era Fleetwood Mac record, let it be this one. This double recording. Some of them are studio recordings, some of them are lives, But of course, it has Black Magic Woman, Coming Home, Rambling Pony, Something Inside of Me, Dust My Broom, Sun is Shining. So all the Albatross, Evening Boogie, Jigsaw Puzzle, Dr. Brown, Need Your Love So Bad also was covered by Gary Moore. Looking for Somebody was covered, I think, both by Moore and White. Amazing song. Need Your Love Tonight, Shake Your Moneymaker, Man of the World, Stop Messing Around, Running Man. I forget right now where this was released. Love That Burns. Gary Moore covered it. If You Be My Baby. So trying so hard to forget one of the most tragic ones. So if you don't want to buy the entire collection and you only want to have one, and I think that this exists in CD as well, if I'm not mistaken. This was released mid-75. So I guess they were riding on the success of then post-Greenie Fleetwood Mac, which I guess at the time this was released, no one thought it would be a good idea to wait an extra 2 years to see how big they became. But they were doing pretty good at the time. There's another interesting one that I wanted to, well, to be honest with you, just to brag about. And this kind of went under the radar. This is a semi-bootleg, I guess, if such thing exists. So it's kind of an unofficial release. I guess some record company or record publisher or some sort of company somehow can structure it in a way that they can take the music, steal the music, in a way that it's not an outright copyright violation. But you won't find this on Discogs, because Discogs doesn't allow illegal releases or things with copyright infringement. Has a nice little booklet in here. And again, these are just interview and music magazine article clippings, but some nice retouched photographs. And it has 5 records of fairly repetitive material, but pretty cool. So this is a very good snapshot of what a hardworking and touring band they were. And this, if I am not mistaken, this is only pre-then play on material, if I am not mistaken, and might be. But and it goes in chronological order, which I think is neat. They didn't just rip off different recordings from different eras. So the disc 1 is the original live broadcast from BBC 1968. I hope you can see some of the titles. There we go. And there's not too much repetition here. And they say the dates, where it was played and where it was broadcast. So really well made, and for what it is, I didn't pay too much for it. So it's pretty nice, and gives you a very good idea of what they sounded like. And then we have June 1968 and live in San Francisco in some venue, and then we have towards the end September 69 in Helsinki, Finland. Stranger Blues, Oh Well, Coming Your Way, Shake Your Moneymaker, Jenny Jenny, a lot of songs that they did mostly live, and they didn't really release them on record. Then we have November 69 in Sweden, Gothenburg, Sweden, Rattlesnake, Shake Underway, Word in Harmony, Red Hot Mama. I think that one also wasn't really released on any official hard release. Gotta Move, and then some improvisation. You hear a lot of these jams. Pretty cool. And then disc 5 only has one side. How stupid is that? Actually, it's the same date, so it's the same concert. So they put 4 songs, I'm sorry, on the first record, but there are some long jams there. There's a 14-minute jams with Underway, and then here there is only one side, the Coming Your Way and long jam, Stranger Blues, that repeats itself once, but not that many. I think Albatross is maybe twice on this. So if you really want to go into what they sounded like live at that period, this is, I think, a worthwhile purchase, but at least a worthwhile listen. So very, very good record, well made. The sound is not bad for what it is. Semi bootleg. And this, and actually chronologically, this comes way before the end of the game. So end of the game is a new era. It's like a one-off. This is a period in and of itself in Greeny's life. And then after this, he just disappears from the scene, like he evaporated. No one sees him. Part of this time he was in a mental institute. He got some pretty harsh treatment, even in those days, right? It's not like it was in a previous century or previous millennia. They gave him some electrocuting, electroshock treatment, which is pretty brutal. There's conflicting medical records in the sense of historic records, but of medical opinions on how efficient it is. But I'm just thinking, why not, if those who believe that it's efficient and it works, why not just put the patient to sleep, right, while it's being on, do it under anesthesia? But what do I know? But anyway, that affected him, I think, pretty deeply. And he came out in '79, and he teamed up with none other than his beloved disciple, the one and only, the inimitable Snowy White, and they recorded this. So this is a Peter Green, just released under his name, and it's the first record that he did since End of the Game. A lot of people like putting this record down. I don't. And actually there is another one, I have it here, I didn't pull it out, but it's a gatefold with a green record in it, and I think it's nicer. This is a Portuguese release, and not bad. But the stupid thing I did is that I should have taken out the other one to read you the songs. I love this record. I really love it, beginning to end. It sounds, it's a different sound. It's a different Peter Green. This is not a Fleetwood Mac Peter Green. This is not an End of the Game Peter Green. This is a new Peter Green. However, the playing, the touch, the tone, that lament out of his soul is present here. And I think if you listen to this record, this is the one that makes it the most apparent, the most coming to the surface, the most evident, let's just say, way to hear where Gary Moore and Snowy White got their greeniness from. And this, I think, also helps to listen a little bit differently, a little bit better to his old material, because this is, I think, that at least in the soloing, if you make abstraction of the sound and the production and the songwriting, but if you listen to just his guitar tone, it kind of opens you up to what was in the past, if that makes any sense. It gives you kind of like a door, or maybe an easier access to his sweetness and the greatness of his tone, and the softness and the soulness, the soulfulness of his touch. In the Skies, great piece. Labo Day was a big favorite. Snowy White used to do it always live. Fool No More, it's a good song. And actually, Fool No More is in one of these compilations that I showed you before. I think that, not the one with the vintage car, but there was another one. Maybe on Pious, no, it wasn't. Anyway, it was in the very early one on the original Fleetwood Mac. So he took back the tune, and Tribal Dance, another very, very good one, very weird kind of rhythm and feel to it. Seven Stars, not bad at all. Funky Chunk is a good number, Just For You. And then you got Proud Pinto and The Apostle, two very, very worthwhile songs. So if you are a detractor of post Fleetwood Mac Greeny, I would very strongly recommend that you give this one a chance and give it a couple spins, and I think that it will, that you may agree with me that this is a good gateway, a good opening to get into old Fleetwood Mac, especially people who are not like crazy blues hardcore fans, but they heard about Greenie and they want to know what all the fuss about is. I would very strongly recommend as using this as a stepping stone in the very least, or as a gateway to older Greenie. The other compilations are not bad either. Like I said, I like very much the vintage years, but the Pious Bird and the original Fleetwood Mac are also very good. And after this one, he released Little Dreamer. Yeah, I actually did take it out. Thank God. I wanted to take it out. Little Dreamer is another one that I like very much. Again, another shift in sound and musical mentality. This one has more. There are tones of reggae on this one here, but this is much more reggae and kind of funk oriented. Mama Don't You Cry, Born Under the Bad Sign, he picks it up. Baby When the Sun Goes Down is a good one. Crying Won't Bring You Back, that's a good. The title track, Little Dreamer, I'm a Loser 2 times, that's the opener. So pretty listenable. The Peter Green here recedes a little bit. He doesn't give out that much of himself. It sounds like he's just enjoying the moment, and he's not really putting that much of his soul into the playing. But it's kind of a lighter side of Greenie, a Greenie that kind of sounds a little happy and a little bit feel good. And then you got this. This record has a lot of detractors. A lot of people hate it. A lot of people say that this is crap and a cash grab, and that the record company or the managers or the producers, whoever they are, they just wanted to make more money. And this is presented as a studio album, and in a way it is, but these are songs taken from all kinds of different periods and different eras and leftovers, things that weren't released, but they were played together, and they were produced, so it sounds very cohesive, very similar, very consistent throughout the album. And I like it. I really like this record. In fact, I'm going to listen to it after this in honor of his birthday. Although I listen to a Peter Green record every day, as well as one Gary Moore and one Snowy White, but today, in honor of his birthday, I'll have to listen to a couple. So I will play this, I think, immediately when I'm done with this. Funky Jam is a good. Black Woman is a fantastic. Just listen to the bass. It's a badass song. Bandit, I think that they redid Bandit in one of his later records with the Splinter group. Mama, I'm a Big Boy Now, not bad. Same Old Blues, Liquor and You. So to me, this is a very consistent. It has a lot of funk. It has a lot of kind of reggae undertones, and I think there is a little bit more of Greenie's heart and soul inside of his guitar playing. Don't expect like this phenomenal, unbelievable Eddie Van Halen meets Stevie Ray Vaughan kind of crazy soloing, but it's more subdued, and I won't say let loose, but he lets his kind of feeling and his emotions come through, and the playing comes through well. So it's not primarily a guitar record, but it's a good record, and it gives you also a little bit more upbeat Peter Green. I think a lot of people expect to hear mostly the tragic side of Peter Green, and that's not all he was about. Actually, Fleetwood Mac was not only tragic, they had a lot of outright silly songs and happy songs. The tragic element was always there, but it wasn't the only element for sure. Then he went on with the Splinter group. And again, the Splinter group was also up to debate. Some people hated it and said that this is not the real Peter Green and yada, yada, yada. I like it. I like most of the material. And if you must have only one Splinter Group record, may it be this one. Peter Green with the Splinter Group Soho Live at Ronnie Scott's. This is the record. This is the front sleeve. This is a phenomenal record. It sounds so good. They play so well here. It's a really kick-ass record. It doesn't hurt that it has Neil Marie, of whom I'm a huge fan. This was, of course, recorded when Cozy unfortunately died already. This I think was recorded in '98. I'm not sure if Cozy died on them or he left and then he died, but this was recorded in '98, and Cozy also died in '98. Where are the dates? I don't know. Sunday, April 5th, 1998. So I think that Cozy was still alive, if I'm not mistaken, but he wasn't in the band, so maybe he left for other reasons. Anyway, the music. There is a freaking kick-ass version of Homework. I love this record. It's an Otis Rush, a great Supernatural, a great steady rolling man, a Robert Johnson. He in his latter years, like many other blues artists, by the way, Snowy White is kind of going into that direction. Gary Moore was a little bit going there. A lot of blues guys go into the very bare bones kind of Delta blues. Big Joe Williams, Son House, and Robert Johnson. He doesn't have that much material, but he has all the aura and the fame, with the whole story with the devil and all that nonsense. A great Green Manalishi, a great Going Down. The Last Fair Deal Gone Down. I like that one. It's a great Black Magic Woman, and It Takes Time. The opener is great. Man, I love this record. It sounds good. It is hard. It is tight. It kicks ass. Neil Murray is in form. Man, it's definitely a should have. And Greeny sounds happy on here. He sounds happy in his singing. He sounds happy in his playing. So for all those of you who claim that Nigel Watson only wanted a cash grab, I think I disagree. And even if he did, well, it was well-deserved cash grab. And he has some other very good records. I love the title escapes me. It's right over there. I'm not gonna get it, but it's Destiny Road, very good record. Reaching the Cold 100, also not bad by any standard. Good record. Time Travelers, very good record. But I like this one very much. The first one, kind of like either live in the studio or studioized live recording. I'm not sure if they had an audience when they recorded this, but this is a very good record. I might just listen to this one as well. So as far as records, I think we're done. I definitely will do a way bigger feature of him, probably together with Snowy. But that's what it is. October 29, 1946. He would have been 78 years if I remember my first grade math. Very sad and tragic, and I am grateful that he lived. I don't know how he felt. Most of his time, he had definitely very weird periods in his life when he was reclusive. He went to Israel twice. I think in the early 80s, both times, or one in 79. It's not so clear when was the first time, whether it was before In the Skies or after, but at one of these sessions he met a bunch of real weird and kooky Israeli musicians, good musicians, but kind of these obscure, weird kind of people. And they went on a session and they banged out a couple of songs, and he was so informed. They say that he had the long nails. He had at a certain point very long fingernails that prevented him from playing. So I don't know how he played. I don't know if he cut his fingernails for the event or used a pick. And The recordings are horrible and quality-wise. The drums sound terrible. I don't even know if there's a bass guitar. I'd have to revisit, but they are available on YouTube. So there was a big article in, I forgot, but make a search for Peter Green's last. Well, I'll put the article in the article link in the comments or in the information section below. You'll see there was an Israeli paper that made like an extensive article. I forgot the name of the publication right now. There were several obituaries and when he died about him, but I think this one was the best, kind of a long article. But long and short, what I'm trying to get to is that they banged out a couple songs, horrible quality. They claim that they lost the original tapes, but some copies somehow survived, and the playing is phenomenal. And that's the Greenie that people expect and want and love. The tragic, super heart-wrenching, soul-squeezing. The guitar is so mournful and lamentful, kind of like a Kosov almost kind of vibe to it. Phenomenal. One is, I think, girl on the sand, the girl in the beach, and there was another song, but I forget right now the name. I'll find it and I'll put all of these links in the video description and in the first comment. And just so you know, you can always watch all of my content on Rumble, which doesn't censor all kind of things. So anyway, happy birthday to you wherever you are, Peter Green. Thank you for all the great music. Thank you for shaping or being very influential in influencing and shaping the musics of the great Snowy White and the great Gary Moore, whom we lost also in the meantime, actually way before Green was gone. So bittersweet, but even though it's a cliche that we should celebrate people's lives instead of just remembering the loss, but we have to remember the loss as well. And yeah, we definitely should celebrate their lives, weird and strange and tragic as it was. And so until the next time, so long and have a good day. And remember, wherever you are, to spin a Peter Green or Fleetwood Mac record today. Happy birthday, Peter Green.